you can sit there and say that, but you are. You're throwing questions back at me, but I'm not incarcerated. I didn't commit any crimes, sir. You know,
you asked a question. You get upset with me asking you a question back.
Do I sound upset to you? I'm not upset at all.
You sound you saying I'm defensive. You making an opinion. I just made my opinion and said I could feel you sound upset to me. You just said to me that you said I feel like I'm upset.
I'm just saying, I think when people try to offer you help, you should accept it. It's their job. It's their job to help you. We're here to help you. You seem to be very defensive for no reason.
I'm not defensive. You know? It's probably like, is something else in the bag? Is in there? Was there something else in the bag?
What's your point?
I'm just asking because you saying you said was ammunition in the bag too. I mean.
Okay, yep. And this man-child, I don't know why he thinks this is a good strategy to debate like that with the parole board. Now, the parole board does have fun with him, and you'll just have to wait to see how this parole hearing ends because, well, I'll just leave it at that. Anyways, with that, let's jump in.
Travis Douglas, 355-877.
Is being conducted in consideration of the parole application for Travis Douglas, 355-877. He is serving a sentence of 3 years jail flat for violation of probation with underlying strangulation second, assault third, and criminal possession of a firearm defense weapon. As of today, records reflect the parole eligibility date of April 25th, 2025 at 85%. There's no victim input in this case. The offender has an offender accountability plan. A review of the plan shows the offender has completed domestic violence to date. He remains on the wait list for a job, vocational, anger management, and voices to date. Utilizing the statewide collaborative offender risk evaluation system scores, the offender overall score for recidivating falls within the very high range. Mr. Douglas, this is your opportunity to express to the board why you believe you should be granted parole. You may begin.
Good morning. I believe I should be granted parole because I completed everything that was presented that I do for my domestic violence, as in for the case for 2021, for the strangulation case that I called. I served my time. I tried my best to stay out of trouble and avoid everything. I've been working off and on jobs throughout my incarceration. I completed my program, designated. I don't think I'm a high risk repeat offender. I think I have a good rehabilitation plan. I live in a better environment now. And a lot has changed over the years, I guess you could say. That's much what I gotta say, really.
All right, Mr. Douglas, we have some questions for you.
Mm-hmm.
When we're done with our questions, and no comment is not an appropriate answer. When we're done with our questions, we'll deliberate amongst ourselves and give you our decision. Okay, we'll begin with my colleague, Ms. Berry.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So Mr. Douglas, you know, while I appreciate your opening statement, I'm a little baffled by what you shared with us. You said you took your programs and you referred to the domestic violence program, right?
Yes, this is the one I completed.
And you said that you took this in connection with the strangulation that occurred in 2021. Is that right?
That's the charge that y'all have me here on the violence and probation of. I mean, my controlling charge was the criminal possession of firearm, but I brought up the strangulation case from 2021. So that's my
Right. Okay. So, but are you negating the fact that when you were released from prison in April of 2022, that you less than a month later went and contacted the victim in this case, and you punched her in the face, you broke her passenger side window, windshield wiper, and the turn signal in front of the kids?
Yeah, that never happened.
Okay.
Yeah, I wasn't convicted. I wasn't convicted of any of those charges.
It's the behavior, sir.
Yeah, but the behavior, it wasn't behavior there. Obviously, I just told you it didn't happen.
Well,
So you say it's a behavior there.
She was convicted.
So-
He was convicted.
yeah, he was convicted. He
Oh, okay.
received, he absolutely received an unconditional discharge.
You said I was convicted for the charge that you just said. You just said I called assault third for breaking their car window and all that stuff. I was not convicted of those charges.
But you were convicted for what? What were you convicted for? Because they
I was
shoved it down.
I was convicted for criminal possession of a firearm.
Right, and you got 34
For
months.
this case. Yeah, for this
Right.
case.
Right.
All those
This
alleged charges
happened-
that.
Okay, so according to my records, sir, you violated your protective order in 2022. You got an assault third, and you received a breach of peace. So they subbed all those charges down with the kids and all that stuff to a breach of peace. Where you
Yes,
received an
meaning-
unconditional, but that's, what does that mean?
No, I'm gonna let you finish. Then I'm gonna go.
It does not negate the behavior, sir. You were in contact with this victim of your underlying of the strangulation. You were in contact.
That I don't have no strangulation with this victim you're talking about. I was never in contact with no victim. So,
Okay, so
the information you have is false.
Okay. So Mr. Douglas, here's the long and short of it. So you come back in on a violation of probation with serious charges underlying. Now you're upping the ante by having weapons. Why did you have a gun?
It was a pellet gun, and the pellet gun wasn't found on me. It was found in the vehicle I was in.
Okay. So again, so now you're upping the ante by having a gun. It wasn't your gun. You didn't commit this assault. So you're back on a violation. Then you come in prison with a new charge for being in possession of a firearm. You rate out high. You receive 1, 2, 3 disciplinary infractions, 2 of which are for fighting.
One.
And one is for fighting, one is an assault that you just got in July, and then you have an interfering with an. Long story short, sir, the things are not stacking up for you. They're not adding up. The nature of your offense, your criminal history, the fact that you rate out high, and I really do not see very much evidence of change, sir. Explain to us how you've changed.
Okay, so the rebuttal, what you said you don't see much change. I completed the domestic violence program. You just brought up an assault ticket that happened in July that was falsely given to me. That assault ticket was.
I'm going to interrupt for a second. He was found not guilty of disciplinary report.
Yes. And I served 10 days
It's
in the
in the
box.
record. Just
So-
put it out there for the record. Thank you.
So the previous assault ticket you talk of, I didn't assault anyone.
Okay.
The Tampa State Security, that ticket for me falling asleep at 12:30 in the morning with a hot pot on. That
Okay.
wasn't nothing. It wasn't no Tampa State Security. I haven't been showing no history of violence. I got one fight ticket. I got one fight ticket since I've been incarcerated for 2 years. This is a hostile environment. Everyone's getting to a fight. I got one fighting ticket. As in, for you say you don't see change. How don't you see change? What can you pull in a guideline that hasn't showed change? I don't have no contact with no victims. I don't have no victim to input in anything. Like, so I don't understand what you're trying to say. There's no rehabilitation going on. I did my program. I stayed out of trouble. I have a good environment to go home to. I have a support system. The gun you claimed that it's a pellet gun. It wasn't used for anything. It got found in the vehicle that was in it. It didn't get found on my possession or any of that. So I understand how it went from saying you haven't seen no change. So what do I got to do to show change? I did the program. I'm not in contact with victims. I'm staying out of trouble. So I got flat time from the court. So if they felt like I was a repeat offender or felt like I was a threat to society, I don't think I would got a 3 flat year sentence.
Well,
That would make sense.
That's not necessarily true. The fact of the matter is that you've been given 8 opportunities on community supervision and you don't do well because you failed all 8 of them. You had 8 opportunities out, and I'm telling you what I'm reading, sir. You come into the prison, you rate out high, you're on probation with a weapon. I don't care whose weapon it was. You were convicted of it. You pled guilty to it. That's what we see. We have information that you were in contact with the victim whose initials are JR, and that you were involved in some violence to your part in front of the children, and you have tickets that say your last ticket, I don't care what it was for, in June of this year for interfering with the safety and security, falling asleep with a hot pot on, you still had a fight a year ago. All of those things combined.
One fight. Okay.
Okay. I'm all set, Madam Chair. Thank you.
Ms. Palmieri.
Thank you. So, Mr. Douglas, I want to go over and get you to elaborate on a couple of statements you made when you were interviewed by the parole officer.
I was rushed by the parole officer.
Say that again?
I was rushed by the parole officer I was interviewed by. She rushed me, but go ahead.
Okay, so this is good then. So we can elaborate on,
Yes.
on some of your statements. This works out well then.
Mhm.
Let's just say, well, you were on special parole when you were arrested. Is that right?
Yes, correct.
Okay. And you had a number of violations while you were on special parole. When I look, you were in and out a few different times for things like criminal trespass.
There's little petty things open on. Yes.
Yeah, I mean, I'll say they were misdemeanors,
Mhm.
right? Criminal trespass 1, driving under suspension, forgery, an assault 3rd, the disorderly conduct. These are all things that have caused you to be in and out of the Department of Corrections, right?
Yes.
Back in
Yes.
on your parole. So whether they're petty or not, they're still incidents of
Correct.
poor decision-making,
Yes.
right? That have resulted in convictions. So I go back through, and one of the avenues that Ms. Berry was going down with you was, suitability for parole is showing offender change, showing how things, how you've changed, you can make better decisions in the community. So I look at some of your statements to the parole officer, and you said, one is, I have good control of my life. I need to find stable employment. And then you say, you reported that you characterize yourself as a spur of the moment type person and a planner depending on the situation. So what does it mean to you to have good control of your life?
So I said to have good control, meaning like the age I'm at now and the space I'm at now, I understand like its maturity level. And so when I say that, I got control over my actions. Like I said before, I just do the blame game and point fingers at everyone and say, oh, this is happening because of this person did this or this person did that. So when I say I take accountability now, it's like I understand what I'm facing. I understand what's ahead of me. I understand what my life is for. So when I say I take account, I got more control over my life now. It's more as like I take 100% responsibility for everything that take place in my life because it's my decision. So that's what I mean. I take accountability.
Okay. And that is taking accountability. Is they're your decisions, good, bad, or otherwise, they're your decisions. So when you say that there are petty things like the trespass 1, the criminal mischief, those are all poor decision making that violates the law and puts you back in jail.
Yes, and right. just to rebuttal off of what you say, as in, my life story is like, I have gotten the bad end of the stick a lot. If you look at my resume, is what I got there. There's a lot of things that happened that got taken out of hand and stuff that happened and got blown up a person. So
I didn't understand you. Say that again. There was a lot of things that what?
I think there's a lot of things I got, misinterpreted.
Or end of the stick.
Oh, misinterpreted.
Yeah, I got the bad end of the stick. It's how the system is formatted. So I'm not trying to downplay any case I've gotten in the past. Anything I take a full responsibility and accountability for the past, but I'm moving forward. I'm trying to move forward. That's what my life is at now. It's moving forward. Okay. And for someone to say that they haven't seen no rehabilitation with me that's kind of like a slap to my face because I have been doing everything I'm supposed to be doing. I have been staying out of trouble as much as possible. This is a hostile environment. Things are going to happen here. I'm not going around fighting people. I'm not drinking. I'm not smoking. I'm not doing tattoos. I'm not running around hitting people, assaulting people. But that's not happening. I'm doing everything I have to do to get back home. I moved to a different environment. I live in Nuggets now. So I'm trying to go home, get my life together, go to school, take care of my kids. I'm not trying to be sitting in no one's prison. I'm fighting for my life. So
Okay. All
that's
right.
what I said.
You know, I don't think there's any of us that would disagree that, you know, being incarcerated is not easy, right?
Yeah.
Lots of people in small spaces, lots of people that don't get along, you know.
It's not easy.
No, it's not. And you know what? It shouldn't be easy because we don't want you to want to go back.
Yes,
So it's
that's the
not
point of it.
supposed to be easy. That's some of the point of it. You know,
Yes.
part of taking some of the programs is to recognize why you're making poor decisions, why you respond to certain situations. So when we look at, let's just talk about, you're on probation for domestic violence. You pick up a new charge that you get an unconditional discharge for, but it still violates your probation. Now,
Yes.
you were out in the community about a month. You're doing you were supposed to be going to a domestic violence program
Yes.
where the program is intended to help you have better relationships, recognize cues. So, and then you've done it since you've been incarcerated. So talk to me about how that program is going to benefit you in the community in terms of how you have relationships, how you respond to difficult situations.
Honestly, the program actually was beneficial to me because I actually picked up a couple of things throughout the program, because before I got to the program, there's a couple of things that I noticed that I didn't recognize that was like red flags in relationships, you know, like toxic, you know, things that lead up to bad relationships, you know. And I actually learned other alternatives to use when I get upset about something, if I get a disagreement, as when it comes to communication skills, or, you know, as in how to handle certain things rather than just going back and forth on the argumentative side. So as in for the program, I learned how to, you know, speak, how to slow things down, how to take the time and try to hear the other person out. That is always you know, it's not always one side, it's two sides.
What do you mean by that?
Basically, like, you know, not being one-sided in a conversation when you communicate with someone. Like, basically, like, if you have a disagreement, it's not always, you know, someone's got to be right or wrong. You can meet at a medium sometimes, rather than always choosing who's right or wrong. You can meet at a medium. So that's what I learned too in the program too. Like, something like, if you disagree with someone, it doesn't mean that, you know, it has to go farther. Like, heated argument, it could decrease, and you could walk away. So
it doesn't have to escalate, right? And
yeah,
I
basically,
often say, just because you're louder doesn't make you righter.
yes, basically.
Right. So you talked about being able to recognize some red flags. So reflect back on some of your domestic violence situations. What red flags do you recognize about yourself?
You know, my first red flag I had, like, I noticed, like, when I did I did like a big span of time incarcerated from like 16 to 23. So when I came home, I didn't really know how to deal with a lot of emotions. Like, you know, a lot of emotions I dealt with in this environment. So when I got out of society, you know, I was dealing with people I didn't really know how to deal with, you know, emotions and stuff like that. So my first altercation I had at domestic it started like with a disagreement, an argument and stuff like that. And it got to shoving over a purse. Like, you know, she threw a purse at me, and then I took the purse and threw it back at her, and that's when it first escalated. Like, my first domestic I ever caught. And then once, like, when I caught that domestic, and I went to jail for, actually I did 8 months for that. I got out, and then, you know, the females I was dealing with in my life at that time, they see what was going on, and they actually use that to, you know, as a control method too, which is kind of domestic. I learned in the domestic class that trying to control someone using that was domestic too. So I learned the program too.
All right. Do you see how you try to control situations also?
Yes.
Okay.
Like, being controlling in a way, like in the past, like I was controlling in the past, like not wanting to like go certain places or certain things on the social media and stuff like that. But, you know, I grew out of that as years went on, you know, so
all right. So going forward, I mean, and you have children, right? You have 2 girls.
Yes, I got 2 daughters.
Right. So, you know, it's important for you to be a role model.
Yes.
show how to, present what good relationships look like, good parenting looks like. What does that look like to you going forward?
I definitely gotta, I keep contact with my daughters now, but it's not the same, 'cause I don't allow them to see me while I'm here, because I know my daughter's coming into a prison. So I don't allow them to see me while I'm here, so that's kind of like hard. So I just talk to them by, phone. But the person I was before, like, not who I am today is a whole different man. I mean, I know everyone says this, but who I was before, I wouldn't want my daughters, messing with someone like that. Like, that was just quick tempered and, short spanning. But as time went on, in and out of the system and stuff like that, and I knew the best thing for me I had to do was get my overall freedom. And what I say by that is, I meant as in like my mind, like as in the whole package. You can't just be free out of prison. You gotta be free overall. Because if I go out in society and I still got my mind trapped and thinking that, oh, I let the past affect my future, then I'm still gonna be living in that same, lifestyle.
Yeah, but you have to learn from your past.
Yeah, it's basically you learn.
You can't keep making those same mistakes.
It's not about
that.
Like I was saying before, it's like I was telling someone a couple of days ago, it's not about how you start, it's how you finish. Like, I started my life off pretty bad, started off bad, but as it's finishing, it's turning around. Like, it's actually turning around. Like, I mean, it hasn't been much time for you guys to see the turnaround, but I see the turnaround because of my life. And I know a lot of things that, I probably got in trouble for in the past, it won't happen no more. Like, I won't, some things just don't trigger me. I don't take interest in them.
Okay. Well, you use the word trigger. What does trigger you? What do you have to be aware of?
Like something that would trigger me for what? As in what?
Anything. In a relationship, in the community, driving down the street.
Honestly, nowadays, like, me being 33 years old now, I'm about to be 34. It's like, and experiencing the things I experienced in my life so far, it's not really too much things that trigger me, like, anger-wise now, because I done been through a lot already. So a trigger for me now, it'll have to be something drastic. I gotta be something drastic for me to get triggered for something now, because especially after dealing with this Osborne, it triggers. I think that the bar will go up. So I don't really think it's home. I don't have a problem with drugs. I don't have a problem with alcohol. I don't have my problems usually, like I told this lady in the interview, my problems usually came from like previous relationships dealing with the wrong people. So my biggest trigger, I think, is, smaller in my circle, like less people.
So, okay. So narrowing your circle of who you get involved with.
Yeah, less people.
You have had, you had some struggles, in your early childhood. You bounced around from here to there. Then you had that assault back in, what was that, 2008? You were what, 17 then?
Yeah, just turned 17.
Yeah. So when you look forward, how do you see your life?
I see my life actually good. Like I was saying, like my first 33 years of my life, I didn't really get to do nothing or see anything. Like my whole life has been seeing Connecticut and in and out of systems and courtrooms and stuff like this. Like, so what I see my life now is like I want to travel. Like I'm gonna go to school for electrician. So that's what I'm planning on doing now. I already got my GED and stuff now. So I want to go to school for electrician. So because everything's going electrical in the world, so that's where I'm going, electrician. So that's where I'm going. That would be my girlfriend is planning on doing. So like I'm gonna roll in school for electrician. That's my plan.
And I know that we talked about this. So you have the 2 disciplinary reports. You had 15 overall. Do you, in your view, do you think this is the best behavior you've had while you've been incarcerated overall?
No.
No.
I think I had times where I had good behavior, but I probably got a ticket for a situation where I got into a fight with someone. And usually, when I get into a fight with someone, it's not me. I don't really come out and mingle with everyone, so it's usually someone else in here. and I just defend myself. I don't have no assault tickets. I don't like, and the other ticket I got for the tampering safety security, like I went to sleep. It was like 12:30 in the morning, and the hot pot was on, and they brought me to the box truck. So
yeah, you know, and I say this to other people, not just you. The rules are for a reason, right? Like, because as you described, a lot of people, a lot of things happening, people not getting along. The rules are to keep some semblance of order, right?
Yes.
So nobody's getting hurt and everybody is, you know, getting to their programs and doing what they need to do. So I know that, you know, you refer to things as, you know, not, at least my impression of what I'm hearing is, you know, things are not such a big deal. Well, you know, I say to you that the rules are there for a reason.
Yeah, I know. Everything's in place for a reason.
Exactly. Exactly. So let's talk about your release plan then. So you want to release and live with your current girlfriend?
Yes.
And this is a new area that you're releasing to.
Yeah, it's pretty new. I'm kind of familiar with it because my sister lived there. I lived with my sister there briefly. She lived in Naugatuck for a while. So I'm kind of familiar with it a little bit, but yes, I think it's better for me because like the city, like me being in the city environment, being around with a lot of things going on, and you know, it never really like worked out. Like, I don't like people being around me and stuff happening, and
yeah,
you know.
But you've never lived there, right?
No,
this is living in a different area. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. And your relationship with your new girlfriend, were you guys together before you were incarcerated?
Yes.
Okay. So, and have you talked about how this living arrangement is going to work out going forward? You know,
Yes.
You don't have a great track record. So you've talked about it?
Yes.
Okay. All right. And you know, you have a protective order in place with one of the victims, JR, until 2082?
Yes. Honestly, like, that don't bother me because I don't talk to her or speak to her. I haven't spoken to her since the case happened. Like, I don't understand. Like they said, like one of the officers said I had a violation of the protective order. Not only happened from the new charge, so that violation got from the new charge. I don't have no violations. I was in contact with no victims.
Okay. And then you talked about seeking out an opportunity to go to school to be an electrician. Have you looked into that at all?
Yeah, that's the plan. That's actually my release plan. I was gonna try to go to Port Chester and Waterbury, actually, to do that.
All right, and I'm gonna just circle back. I should have done this before we got to the release plan, but you do have a new charge of carrying a firearm, right? And I know you say it's just a pellet gun and it was in the car, but the way the report reads is that they saw you with the bag prior to stopping the vehicle. So hence the bag belonged to you. What's contained in the bag is your possession. Now you realize that you are prohibited from carrying any type of firearm, anything that projects.
Yes, I'm aware of that.
Okay, so why did you have it?
Once again, I did not have it on me. It wasn't mine. It was in the vehicle that was in. I understand what it says in the police report. Every police report, it says every offender that came in here, it says that's what it says in every police report you have up there. It's not one's going to say this guy was across the street and the gun was across the street and he was there. That's not going to happen. But
okay, did you know what was in the bag? Did you know what was in the bag?
No, it was like 9:45 at night. It was a music video shoot we went to. Like my people, they do like music videos, they do movies and stuff like that. So it wasn't just me in the car. It was me, my girlfriend, my brother, and a cameraman. So it wasn't just me in the car. It wasn't just like, oh, pull over, this is him taking the bag is on him. It wasn't like that. They searched the car and found the bag in the car. And then they put the bag on me. That's why I hired a lawyer and fought the case, because I'm like, that's not what happened.
All right, but they let everybody else go because you said the bag belonged to you.
Yes, they didn't even question no one else. They just took the bag out of the car and threw it on me because I had a warrant for my arrest already. So they was already arresting me anyway. So they just basically took the bag out of the car. They didn't question the driver. They didn't question no other passengers. They just threw the bag on me.
Okay. All right. So let's. Okay. So we're going to just leave that at that, right? I mean, that's what you say happened, and we have the police report that it differs. from that, but we'll move forward from that. What do you think? Now, you've been on special parole for a long time, like we said earlier, back and forth, in and out of jail, finally finished that special parole. It finally ended. So now you're out in the community. What do you think you need to live successfully in the community?
Job,
Okay.
my family, money. Well, me personally, I think education, because that's how I plan on furthering mine, get my money. And a medium support system.
I did notice that you had a few jobs before you came in. You were at Trader Joe's for a bit and Bizzuto's, but you had some problems at both locations.
I ain't had problems at Trader Joe's. Trader Joe's, I left there because I moved back to New Haven. So
Okay. Is that
it was
when you
more of
started
a
working at
transportation.
Bizzuto's? Okay.
Yeah, that's why I transferred to Bizzuto's.
Okay.
And I ended up getting reincarcerated.
Okay.
Mhm.
And but you had some struggles at Bizzuto's. Was it an attendance thing?
Yeah, the first time I was there was attendance. My first got there, and I got rehired there. And the second time I got terminated was 'cause I got reincarcerated. I came for the strangulation case. That was the first time, and then yeah, that's basically it.
Are you a good employee? You think you're
Oh yeah,
that type of
I always
person
work
where
out.
they would hire you back?
Yeah, I'm a worker. Like I'm always someone to get it. Like I'm a working person. Like I always keep a job. So it's not like I be out there and just. I'm that person that take my free time lightly. So usually I'm always doing something like working out or going to the gym or working or something. So I always keep a job. Like employment is something that's important to me.
Anything else?
No, that was it for me.
Okay. I had a note. So it said that you learned in domestic violence, this was in the evaluation, that you learned to identify anger cues. Can you tell me what one or two of those would be?
Is that anger cues?
Cues when you're getting angry, maybe.
Oh yeah, like basically
like,
I can tell if I'm getting angry because I get quiet. Like I probably get quiet and I stop talking. But now, like probably these times, if I'm say I'm somewhere and we're talking about basketball or sports or something like that, for instance, and it's getting heated, I walk away. I leave the conversation now. Like I figure like some people, don't like when you walk away from conversations and stuff like that. But I feel like when I walk away from the conversation, I'll be more relaxed because I don't really care about the conversation no more. I just go do what I do. I read my book, watch TV, work out or something, and I'd be out.
So you're right now, your projected parole eligibility date is April. Your end of sentence date is roughly August. So that would put, if you were to be found suitable for release, that's 4 months on parole. How do you think you do with that?
I think that would be a walk in the park. With my plan I have when I go home, like the plan I have, like I think like when I go to school, the environment I'm in, the people in my life, my girlfriend, things I have going forward, I think that would be like just a breeze. Like I don't see myself reoffending even if past the 4 months. I don't see myself reoffending period in my life. I don't see me getting arrested again at all for anything.
It's a good attitude. So why is you have had relationships before when you've come out of prison and been on probation and parole and done programs. So I guess I'll ask again. So what would be so different this time?
The difference would be now is the maturity level, my mind frame, my mindset, my environment, me wanting more for myself, me understanding that life is bigger than prison cell, and not making the decisions that's going to leave here. I know, making bad decisions is going to lead to one place. It's going to be here. So I don't see no point of fighting for your to get out of this type of situation to go backwards and result back to it. Like, I didn't hire, attorneys or fight for my freedom or speak my piece and try to get a flat overall sentence to go home and reoffend to get back on paper. That don't make sense. So for somebody to do that, I think that's kind of insane for somebody to even want that.
We often tell individuals in your situation that parole and probation, they can be very supportive, very helpful, help you. You want to go to Porter and Chester, kind of point you in that right direction where maybe you can get some financial assistance or get involved with a program that will support that continuation of your education. Have you ever looked at parole and probation as actually an organization that could benefit you and help you move forward with your life?
Yes, I use this my business at one time. They helped me get an apartment before. Like, they did like some type of program that was helping me get an apartment. So it wasn't bad. Like, parole wasn't placed in my life to make my life worse. It was placed there, like you said, for rules. You know what I mean? So.
Right, there's accountability with everything in life.
Yeah, so I mean, I feel like, it's a bumpy road, but I made it here. Like, I'm here. It's a bumpy road, but I'm here.
You are 33 years old, have quite an extensive criminal history, right? This is your second firearms charge, and you score very high for risk to recidivate. It is by the assessment, you're going to be a little bit of a struggle.
I mean, that's what they have in the system. They have, like, statistically, it says that I would reoffend. Statistically, they have on paper, but that's not my brain. That's not me. So They can have whatever they want on paper, but that doesn't mean nothing.
Well, you realize that your success is our success. So if you're successful, everybody wins.
Yes. I understand that 100%.
All right, Mr. Douglas, thank you.
Thank you. Mary. So, Mr. Douglas, I'm going to attempt to clear up some confusion that I think we have in the room. Right. How many domestic violence victims have you had?
4.
Yeah. So I think the confusion is you've had multiple cases and maybe it appears that it's the same person when it's not. You've had multiple. Yeah. So, I mean, are you able to take responsibility now for your actions in the past that led to your domestic violence arrests?
Yes, I never once said that I didn't take accountability for anything in the past.
Okay, so your underlying offenses for strangulation, second, and assault, third, you committed those acts?
Yes, I was convicted of them.
Well, that's not what I asked you.
Oh, yeah,
right?
I mean, if I say different, it's going to be looked at as like, well, I have on paper it says you did. So, I mean, in court of law, and what you have there, it says I did. So I did.
Well, I mean, we know that you were convicted, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Because we see the sentences in front of us.
Mm-hmm.
But they're two very different questions. I don't need to ask you if you were convicted. I already know that. I asked you if you committed those offenses.
Yes.
You were on special parole at the time of this offense for conspiracy to assault first. What was that case about?
Conspiracy to assault?
Yeah.
So attempt assault? It's about from 2008? Yeah. Oh, yep. Yeah. That was when I was 16 or 17. I had I was with like my cousin and my brother, and it was like a group of kids across the street. Like, it was like, go back and forth. Whatever. My cousin, he took out a gun and started shooting at him, and we ran away.
And you were convicted of shooting at them. Why?
No, I was convicted of conspiracy to attempt assault first.
Right. Well, I read the police report, and they identified you as the shooter.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, and that was the trial, and they identified me as not. Once they did their job, they seen I wasn't a shooter. Yeah.
Well, they didn't. No, they didn't. I mean, nowhere does it say that you weren't the shooter. What did your cousin get? What sentence did your cousin get?
He didn't give him. He didn't give him nothing. He actually dropped his case because he had a bigger case. So that's why he dropped his case with him. Yeah.
So the breach of peace that my colleague attempted to speak to you about was a different person than the victim in your strangulation case. Right. So did you commit the breach of peace?
No.
Okay.
That
So
was
what
a revenge
happened?
call. That was a revenge call from her because she got convicted of a domestic call that I called on her. So what happened with that case was, she committed a domestic case against me where she got arrested and convicted, and she called the cops on me as a rebuttal call, trying to get me in trouble because I was on special parole. So she called the cops and said that I did that. The case that she case with the busted car window and stuff like that. She claimed that happened a month later. So the cops, instead of doing an investigation, they put a warrant for my arrest instead, without doing no investigation of this. They put a warrant for my arrest. Once I told them what happened, like, oh, I called the cops on her. She did domestic with me. She got arrested for assaulting me and chasing me from Meriden to New Haven. So he did a revenge call. And once they investigated it and seen what was going on, it's like, oh, okay, this girl is actually, he's right. I'm right. So they're not going to sit here and just give it to me and say you're right. But
you know you were convicted, right? You do know you were convicted. Okay.
That's why, I mean, the charges was reckless endangerment, risk of injury, all this amazing stuff that she alleged. They bumped all this stuff down to a breach of peace because they know it didn't happen. They seen the evidence. That's why they brought it down to a breach of peace.
Well, they could have dismissed it. Why wouldn't they have dismissed it?
How are you going to dismiss something where I'm on special parole?
What do you mean? It happens every day. You see that every day.
I got a strangulation case, 2021.
Yeah.
Right? That we all here for. That I didn't want to cop out to at all. But I had to cop out to because I was special parole.
You didn't have to. What do you mean you had
to? I did have to cop out to it. If I don't cop out to a case on special parole, right? Where do I stay? Incarcerated. I had 3.5 years left special parole at this time. COVID started. They said, take this 14 months or go to trial. So I take the 14 months, I go home. I'm free. If I go to trial, I'll stay in jail for 3 years. It's a no-brainer. I'm gonna go home.
Okay, so why were you arrested for that then?
Arrested for what? Which one?
Well, you're going back to the strangulation now, so we'll go back to that. Why were you arrested?
I mean, I was arrested because the cops were called. She called the cops on me.
Was that another revenge call? I'm asking you.
No. That was a domestic call. That situation happened. It wasn't as extreme, but yeah, that was a real domestic case. That happened. If something happens, I'm going to admit to something. I'm 33 years old. That case happened. The case with the criminal possession of ammunition, criminal possession of a firearm, did they come? Did they arrest me? Yes. Was it a gun in the car? Obviously it was. Was it mine?
Yeah.
So I don't know where y'all want me to go with it. It's like, y'all want me to take accountability and admit some stuff? Yes, it happened. So it's nothing else I can do. Like moving forward, what can I do in the past? I can't go back and change the past. I could go back and be like, oh, it happened.
You can learn from it, certainly.
I did learn from it. What more can I learn?
You can make better choices. I mean, when I get in a car with my sister, I don't have to worry that there's a gun in the car. If you're saying
I won't have to worry about that either. I won't have to worry about that no more either.
Yeah, but that's my point. Like, you made poor choices again if you chose to hang out with people who carry guns. So that's why you asked why we go back to the past. This is why.
If someone's carrying a pellet gun for a video shoot, hey, now if it was a real loaded gun in there, then I'll probably be like, oh, there's a gun in the car. It was an unloaded pellet gun in the car for a video shoot that was in a handbag.
And there was ammunition in the car. What were the bullets for?
They said there was ammunition. They said it was there. So it wasn't my bag. So it's probably is something else in the bag that's in there? Was it something else in the bag?
What's your point?
I'm just asking because you saying he said it was ammunition in the bag too. I mean, was I charged with ammunition too?
I mean, we make deals all the time.
I'm just asking a question. I'm just asking questions.
Why did you do so poorly on special parole?
I don't think I did poorly. I think
you did poorly.
I think I had some, I violated for misdemeanors. Yeah. Yes, but I didn't reoffend and catch no big charges or cases, as in I'm pretty sure that database that I have, that the reoffender thing I have, people that in my situation reoffend. and catch way bigger cases or do something way drastic. Me?
Well,
No.
I would say strangulation second is pretty drastic.
Yeah, it is
So is
drastic.
assault, and so is criminal possession. They're all of them. I mean,
That's and then again, that's 4 years ago. It's 2021, it's 2025, 2025. Yeah, going over a case that happened 4 years ago. Did anyone else get charged with anything else close to that since 4 years ago? No, I haven't. So y'all going over a case from 2021 and y'all saying, oh, yeah, we need to see change. I haven't caught a case like that ever again. So, and I knew about ever.
You've been incarcerated for 34. You've been incarcerated for a long time, sir.
Yes, I have.
You know, we don't want to see you come back. So we're here to help you. You seem to be very defensive for no reason.
I'm not defensive.
You know, you can sit there and say that, but you are. You're throwing questions back at me, but I'm not incarcerated. I didn't commit any crimes, sir. You know,
you asked a question. You get upset with me asking you a question back.
Do I sound upset to you? I'm not upset at all.
You sound you saying I'm defensive. You making an opinion. I just made my opinion and said I could feel you sound upset to me. You just said to me that you said I feel like I'm upset.
I'm just saying, I think when people try to offer you help, you should accept it. It's their job. It's their job to help you. Are there any more questions? All right. So this time we're going to deliberate about your case. You can listen to our deliberation and we'll get back to you shortly with our decision.
All right, thank you.
Ms. Berry, we'll start with you.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I am not going to support Mr. Douglas's discretionary parole. He rates out very high. I'm happy to hear that he aspires to do things differently with his life and that he's benefited from participating in the programs. However, the nature of this offense and his criminal history as being on probation and special parole when he committed the offense, in my opinion, renders him suitable for discretionary parole.
Thank you, Ms. Berry. Ms. Palmieri?
So I don't disagree with all that Ms. Berry has outlined. He does rate very high, you know, and Mr. Douglas has a long history. I counted 5 failures on special parole alone. And then we have his view that it's just a cursory count. And then he's got the violation of probation. You know, I look all the way back to his first arrest, which is what placed him on special parole for, and he was 16, 17 years old at the time, you know, coming out of, you know, kind of a rough upbringing. He's had a number of domestic violences. He's taken domestic violence a few times. I do hear Mr. Douglas acknowledging what he needs to change about himself, how he needs to manage himself in relationships going forward. So I do hear some change.
Mm-hmm.
I think it took a little bit to dig it out of him. He is a little bit defensive, you know, for whatever reason he sees. He has done okay. He's got the 2 disciplinary reports. It's not horrible, but we do have people come with none.
Right.
Right? The rules are met for a reason.
Yeah.
I'm pleased that he took the domestic violence program. He got a good evaluation. There's some other programs on his OAP, anger management and voices that I do think would definitely benefit Mr. Douglas in his mission to remain in the community without any supervision, without any new arrests, and to live peacefully. So although I do see a lot of change, although I do hear his explanations of things and his desires to further himself productively in the community, I do think before he's released, he would benefit from the other programs on his OAP, anger management, voices, and even begin like that whole vocational piece. So I don't find him suitable for parole today. I would say inadequate institutional program participation. The other program.
He did, just so that he did take those during his prior incarceration. He took anger management and he took voices.
All right, but he's also taken domestic violence
Right, he's
before. It
taken
doesn't mean you
that-
can't take them again.
This is his third time. That's fine.
Yeah.
Right, and I counted 6 parole violations.
I said I just did it.
Oh,
Right,
I wasn't
right.
overly
No,
specific.
yeah,
I think
yeah.
5 is, you know,
yeah,
That's
it's
enough, right?
it's too many,
it is.
right? So I just briefly kind of looked at the candidates and made a note because I was like, how could he still be working on that special parole?
Right.
But so anyways, for me,
Your reasons, tell me.
our inadequate institutional program participation, I think he would definitely benefit some
Okay.
more programming. He was on probation when he committed the
And
incident
special parole,
offense,
yeah.
and his criminal history, I guess.
What were your reasons?
The nature, it's criminal history and on probation and special parole. All of it combined, you know, he had a lot going on. And to at his own admission, you know, he had outstanding warrants when he received this new conviction for the weapon. And I just think he had a lot going on.
Yeah. Okay. In the matter of Travis Douglas, MA number 355877, I'll make a motion to deny parole for the following reasons: the nature and circumstance of the current offense, inadequate program participation, offense committed while on probation and special parole, and criminal history. Is there a second?
Second,
All in favor?
I
Aye. All right, Mr. Douglas, we wish you the best.
That's all right. I ain't less in like a couple months, so I'm gonna deal with no one at all. So
Right.
it's a one way for me.
It is, yeah.
So, Mr. Douglas,
Yes.
you know, if you're serious about going to Porter and Chester, these are things you can start working on before you get out. So,
Yeah,
you know, it would be beneficial, it would be productive. You
I mean,
seem to be in
beneficial
the
to me
right-
is my freedom. You know,
Yep.
so I feel like
you
this
seem
whole
to be in the
thing right
mindset.
here. Yeah, but you know, this I already knew I wasn't getting accepted anyway, but I still wanted to show up to speak anyway. I already know how the system works.
Yeah.
It's not gonna slow me down, but y'all still have a good rest of your day and stuff like that though, you heard me? And you need to work with yourself.
This concludes the hearing for Travis Douglas, 355877.
Wait,
No parole for tape.
Okay,
No parole for tape.
so,
No parole for tape. None.
Okay, I mean, you just don't drink the water. You can't make it up. Can you imagine standing up at the end of the parole hearing and saying that and point, you need to work on yourself. It's the parole board. It's like, you know, and at the end there, she said, huh? What? And I don't worry, I waited to see if there was any more talk or a hot mic, but they cut the sound. We don't know what happened at the end of that, but come on. It's like, I wish they could do something. See, in Louisiana, they have a warden sitting there most of the time. If not a warden, they have a CO. It's like they should do that in Connecticut because the disrespect that these parolees show, the parole board of all people, it just tells you everything you need to know. If this is how he acts at his parole hearing, can you imagine what he's doing to the women in his lives, to everyone in his lives? Strangulation, that's what he gets violated for. And he has a long record. Sir Richard shows here. October 27, 2016, July 7, 2018, November 4, 2019, January 2020, February 2021. I mean, sentence after sentence after sentence where it's assault, strangulation, DV, illegal operation of vehicle, goes on and on and on. And now, and then even they say possession of, blah, 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 blah. It's like, dude, you're a criminal and you're a baby. And you literally can't control it. You need more programs, man. And you know he's going to get out. His full term date is what a maximum sentence is September 1st, 2025. So he had a considerable amount of time riding on this. Oh man, you can't make it up. You know, we do have an appeal, Sir Richard, popped up on this. For that initial crime they were talking about, that of course he's denying this and that and that and this from 2011. We're not going to go through it because, I mean, I don't know. I don't even know if we should. The point is going through it, but I can put it in a link if you're curious. What are we supposed to say? I mean, I think we just saw the parole hearing of a man-child, and a dangerous man-child. And these things go, I just can't. I don't have patience for DV. I don't have patience for strangulation. It's like, go pick on someone your own size. I just don't. But you see it. You see his temper here. You can't control yourself in a parole hearing. You can only imagine the type of terror that he reigns in his household. But they just keep giving little sentences. Why? Obviously he's got nothing. He's learned nothing. It's at what point? At what point do you give a little bit of a longer sentence? Mm-hmm. And this is his best behavior. Keep in mind, this is him on his best behavior. So, what can you do? We'll see him back probably at a revocation hearing in a few years. I mean, it's going to be like 15, 16. It's going to be a long time till he's out anyways. But I guess, 18, 19 months. But hopefully, I mean, I intend to still be doing this. So, make sure you hit the subscribe notification bell to get the updates, because we do keep track of our inmates. And with that, I will let you go.
You can sit there and say that, but you are. You're throwing questions back at me, but I'm not incarcerated. I didn't commit any crimes, sir. You
asked the question. You get upset with me asking you a question, but
do I sound upset to you? I'm not upset at all.
You sound you saying I'm defensive. You making that opinion. I just made my opinion and said I could feel you sound upset to me. You just said to me that you said I feel like I'm upset.
I'm just saying, I think when people try to offer you help, you should accept it.
And that's
it's
all
their
I've been
job.
doing.
It's their job to help you.